have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Appreciate it, Mark. Chuck?
Here tonight to get the board's final approval to go ahead and purchase a vehicle for the grounds and maintenance department. We do have money available in the budget, was budgeted to purchase a truck to replace a 13-year-old one. I started off a couple of weeks ago, or in early September, looking around some dealerships at used vehicles, to try to find something near new. Hopefully save a few dollars. I did look at a couple of used 2008 trucks, but it became apparent pretty quickly that with the rebates available and municipal discounts, we're actually better off getting a new vehicle rather than a used one. So at that point, John Dalrymple and I wrote up the specifications, the minimum specs that we were looking for, put an ad in the newspaper. We sent out requests for proposals to 5 dealerships and heard back from 3 of them. And pretty amazing, 2 of the bids were $5 a pot. So at this point, looking for permission to proceed and purchase a truck from Ford of Londonderry at their bid price of $27,850.
Any questions for Chuck?
I'd like to know a bit about the specs of this truck. I was looking a minute ago at the CarPoint listing for F-250s, and this seems to be smack dab in the middle of the MSRP range. So I'm just wondering, you know, with the discounts and things that you were talking about, what kind of equipment, what kind of trim, things like that are on this?
The minimum specifications, and they're not specific to any type of vehicle. We did hear back from Ford and Chevrolet. Looking for an 8-cylinder automatic transmission, 8-foot electric Fisher plow, heated side mirrors. It's not a luxury, it's very important when you're plowing. A roof-mounted amber rotating beacon, backup alarm, all-season tires, full-size spare, cab step, and sliding rear window.
Okay, so this is coming with the plow and the light bar and things like that?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
You just didn't have a plow. You didn't have a plow.
I don't have a 250.
I'm not saying.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Clearly it didn't.
Okay.
Hey, Chuck, what happens if we, just based on the economy, what happens if we don't replace this truck now and you hold on to the 13-year-old through this year?
Well, the sky's not going to fall. I mean, we'll carry on. The one that we're replacing is parked out back by the football field right now. It's not safe to drive. It's been parked there for a couple of months. It'll take us a little longer to do some projects, a little longer to do plowing, probably face increased maintenance on some of the other vehicles, probably have to pay out some mileage reimbursement to employees for using their own vehicles in lieu of the one that's broken down. You know, nothing major, a lot of little things.
Okay, so those little things will add up, though.
Yeah, they always do.
Okay. I just wanted to ask.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the bid of Ford of Londonderry for $27,850 for a Ford F-250.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
There's no way to negotiate this down some?
You have 3 bids, right?
Yeah, you have 3 bids.
Were they aware of each other's price?
No.
I'm not familiar, Ron, maybe you can help me out with this. I'm not familiar with how the law works, but is it possible for us to, at this point, identify a preferred vendor and then ask them for a best and final offer?
I'm not,
When you go for bid, you go for bid.
Okay.
If you're gonna do a request for proposal, you could do proposals and so forth. But usually you do request for proposal when you're talking about service. where you've got service and you got quality of service coming into play. You're talking about a piece of machinery, trucks, cars, where it's a standard spec, you're bidding on a standard spec.
Okay. And you said this was a four-wheel drive XL model?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a base model, yes.
No further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So it goes. Go get your truck.
I move we buy him a tank of fuel. Okay.
Oh, not bad. I heard there was a truck coming in from Colorado that may have fit the bill.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you never know. All right, I will turn it over to the superintendent for his report.
Okay, Greg is gonna present, adult ed report.
Come into the Lions Den, Mr. Warren.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm gonna do I have two things. I'd like to do a summer recap of our summer programs at the high school, and then some current happenings that are taking place. Summer recap, and I believe you received a copy of the report, and I kind of pulled some highlights from that I'd like to share. Summer school of 2008 was a successful one. I think we had a good summer. I think the students gained a lot, learned a lot. Of the 42 students we had enrolled in the program, all 42 earned full credit in the 10 courses that we offered, which was very encouraging. There were 2 students that were administratively withdrawn at the very beginning of the program. They just came to me and they just weren't going to be able to, for whatever reason, continue with the program. So overall, though, the summer program was a success. We also had the LIFT and the APP, which is the Alvern program, the farm program running. And some of the highlights there were that, the students were able to gain some familiarity with the building, learning study skills, organizational skills that were going to be necessary to be successful when the fall came. Personally, one thing I found very rewarding and helpful, I think, is the relationship I was able to establish with, even though the 19 students that were there, I have them come to my office now, and the rapport that we've been able to build has been essential, I think, for some of these students. And I'm not sure I actually mentioned that in the report, but it's something anecdotal I'll add to that, was that I've seen the value of it. The LIFT program, students were awarded middle and high school credit for successfully completing the program, and they had the opportunity to go on some team building they went on some field trips. They did a hike on Mount Monadnock, and 12 of the 19 students actually are in the World Studies program at the high school. And our moving on to our Alvern program, all 6 students there earned full credit, and they got to see work with a variety of different animals on the farm. They got to operate and service some of the farm equipment and build pens, all the things necessary to have success if you're going to have an agricultural program or work on a farm. And I think the thing they walked away with the most, the biggest aspect, I would say, is the work ethic that it takes to do a summer job. And also, as they're learning, I'd see them come back from the farm each day, and they would be sweating, and they had a rough day. They'd worked hard, but they learned and they felt it was rewarding for them. So I feel that was a success. And moving along to some of the current happenings, GED update, which I actually attended a conference today up in Concord about the GED. But on that note, we've had 481 individuals take the GED, and 423 of those have earned their certificate, which is 88% over the 4 years. and the percentage of individuals that are actually passing the GED test is increasing, which is a nice thing. Our center is open year-round, and it's Monday through Friday, and I think that's one of the greatest advantages we have over the other GED testing facilities. Our flexibility is one of the keys to allowing individuals who are seeking their GED to be able to do that in a timely manner. And we also, the military continues to use our program as a testing facility, a preferred testing facility, which is nice. A lot of recruits will come there, individuals that have chosen to serve in our military, and they need to have their GED as a minimum requirement, and they come to the center. And if they need a little bit of practice or a little information about what it is the GED is going to be all about, we provide that as well. So it's been very beneficial for all involved. Let's see. Yeah, we do have the preparation and tutorial service. We do that 2 times per week, which is advantageous. Some individuals will take the practice test, and if they don't, if we don't feel that they're going to be totally ready to pass, then what they'll do is they'll get a little extra instruction. In regard to the adult education program this fall, we have 10 classes running this semester, including several classes are being offered online, and that's for a total of 46 students. 33 of those are night students, and 13 are day students. And it's a total of 72 class slots. There are 6 students right now are projected, actually another one signed up today, so 7 students are projected to graduate at the end of the semester, and 23 students are projected to graduate in the spring. So the spring's a little more on the heavy side than it is in January. It's just the way the credits fell. And in addition to the students we have from Londonderry, we have 2 Pinkerton students who will be earning their diploma by taking courses that were not offered at Pinkerton through their PACE program. They're taking them with us, and they're going to graduate. And we have 2 students who are completing courses for college requirements. They're going into nursing right now. And in regard to the World Studies program, there are currently 12 students in the program. Number of students did decrease from 19 to 12, and I just wanted to point out the reasons for that. 3 of the students were placed in replacement programs, meaning a couple went into a transition program, another went to a program that's designed for students that have some emotional difficulties. 3 students actually were placed in a higher level English due to the screening and testing they did. They felt that they'd be better suited to be in those classes. And 1 student, due to parental request, was obviously honored, and the student was not placed in the program. The World Studies program, as was mentioned a little earlier, is getting ready to embark on their 3-day annual team building trip to Camp Takadoa, and that'll be tomorrow morning. I'll have a little chat with them before they leave just to make sure that all goes well, and I'm sure it will. And this group of students is a nice group of students, and I think they're really going to enjoy this trip and really appreciate the fact that they were able to go on this trip. And they did. The World Studies teachers did meet with the parents, outline the parameters of the trip, and they just got a chance to talk about the program, what it's all about. So that's basically the highlights of this report. I'm not. If there are any questions?
Questions from the board? Steve?
You used the term that a parental request was honored. Could you just go over that in a little bit more detail?
Sure.
I think to see where I'm coming from, I mean, the vision of the public sometimes is that the schools will, do what they do without interacting with the parents.
Sure. Well, this student, after going through the program, felt that they would be, would do better, being more mainstreamed and put into just some other classes, not with that group. I guess that maybe they felt they just didn't gel with the group. So obviously we had a discussion about that, talked about the benefits, the pros and the cons to that decision, try to help them make the most informed decision they can. And the ultimate decision was that it would be best if the student, tried to do what the parents desired them to do.
And so do most, or do all students that go into adult ed, is that decision made as a team with the parents?
Well, this was for the LIFT program and the World Studies, but in regard to
Or future adult ed student, yeah.
yes, parents are involved in that decision, absolutely. Particularly if the student is under 18. And, but even if they are over 18, I try to involve parents and what do your parents think about this? If you talk to your mom and dad, let's give them a call. I'll often I'll do a conference call with the student and their parents or one of their parents and say, okay, these are some of the things they'll come in and have a meeting and we'll discuss some of the options. We present the adult ed option, the credit recovery options, all the options that are there for the student and the timeline that is going to be involved with, some of the decisions they're going to make. So we just present them with the best fit for them.
So now that you're in charge, do you think we're on a less than 1% dropout rate?
I think we're still, yes, I do. I think we're doing an outstanding job just meeting all the students' needs. I really do. And I see I heard a lot of really interesting ideas today when I was at the conference in Concord. And some ideas I have floating around. I shared them briefly with Mr. Parent when I got back. And we're just going to talk some more about it and just some things that would provide a little more flexibility for maybe some of the students that decide, in the middle of a semester maybe that, oh boy, I'm not going to make it. So anyways, we've got some things we're going to discuss and hopefully it'll help only improve the program.
Good, thanks.
Greg, I just want to take a step back to the LIFT program for a second.
Sure.
Do we track the success of those kids through their 4 years at the high school? So the kids that, are successful in the LIFT program, do we monitor them to make sure, number one, that they're getting out and they're not becoming one of that less than 1% dropout rate? And
Yes, we do.
we do.
Mr. Parent has a file of the students through the years, and then these students, I will continue to track them and the students, and I'll put a report together that will show where those students are at throughout their high school career,
Great.
and how it has impacted their success
Terrific.
at
Thanks.
Londonderry High School.
Anything else? Yep, Ben.
Just sitting here listening to you and thinking about the administration in the schools, we have several young women at the elementary schools as principals, but more importantly at the high school, we have yourself and of course, Principal Parent, Jason Parent. And I'm just curious how you interact. I mean, because you're to the young end of the scale, and I was sitting here wondering how you interact with those students in that situation. Do you notice any difference, as opposed to someone that was maybe 20 years older? I'm just curious as to your impression.
I think there's a difference, definitely. I think it has a big impact, being maybe a little on the younger side. For instance, I can point to an example this evening, which I mentioned to Mr. Parent when I came in. A couple of the students have an hour off that are in the adult ed program between one of their courses, so they decided to order dinner and came and ate lunch in my house. We'll order you something, Mr. Warren. I say, well, that's okay, but you're welcome to sit. And, just they feel comfortable, I think, and they talk about, current events, and there's a comfort level there. And I think they had that with Mr. Parent, and I think I feel that same comfort level as well with the students that are there. And I think it does have a big impact because we can relate. with them. And then we have Mr. Salidas, who we can go to, and he just can put the hammer down, and it's almost like I'm going to tell on you. But it works out really well.
You don't have to look at him.
See how
We're in
Mr.
charge.
Greenberg reacts sometimes when I say things.
Don't worry, we all also know who's in
If you're not
charge in
here-
there. so
If you're not here
it's
next
not
week,
me.
we'll understand how you're.
All right, thank you.
You're making copies in some remote room.
You hear the machine running, that's me. Are there any other questions?
No, thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
You have.
You're in charge.
Yes.
Connie's not around anyway.
You have in your board packet our enrollment report for September. Pre-K through 12, enrollment is 5,285 students. We have an additional 18 students that are placed out of district, 63 home study students, and 46 adult ed. Of those, 33 are night students and 13 are day students. Brings our total to 5,303, which was our pre-K through 12 enrollment was pretty close to what our projections were for last year. So we're pretty much on target.
Any questions?
No lost twins. No lost twins.
No lost twins.
Nothing turned up, did they?
All right, Nate,
Okay.
space considerations?
Okay, I put in your packet a report with also a recommendation regarding elementary space considerations. I think I've got to back up just a couple of years. When we embarked on the construction at North School to replace the modulars, and when we looked at the construction of space at South and the replacement of modulars, we made some conscious decisions. Those decisions were that we were going to look at our total elementary room stock as a whole, as opposed to, let's say, overbuilding at North. Those of you who are on the North School Building Committee remember that we looked at several options, one of which was to build a second floor on the school. During part of those discussions, we looked at entire stock of our classrooms. We did the same thing when we looked at South, with the idea that we would build to what we anticipated our needs would be for 10, 15 years, but look at our elementary stock as a whole. And we would have to make adjustments in student population enrollment as we move through. So we're coming to a point, I believe, where we're going to have to make some adjustments. And so we looked at it, and the purpose of our review was to examine current utilization of instructional space based on enrollment projections and program needs for both regular and special ed students, and recommend instructional space utilization for the 09-10. What were the variables? Class size, enrollment projections and grade distribution, program needs, and appropriate instructional space. Our methodology was the same that we've used in the past. We took our actual 08-09 numbers as of September 28th. To get our grade 1 numbers, we took our kindergarten numbers, broke it down by catchment area, and then we multiplied it by a ratio of 1.11. The 1.11 is based on the number of non-Moose Hill kids that went into first grade. We used a 1.11 figure this year. In last year, when I did enrollment projections, I believe the ratio was 1.14. I went with the lower number. I didn't even split the difference to give us our enrollment projections. If I do that, and we take a look at our enrollment history, in which I provided a chart for you for 06-07 through 9-10, basically what we're projecting for next year are 564 students at North, 572 at South, and 616 at Matthew Thornton, giving us 1,752 students. Okay. Then what we also did was we broke out for you room utilization for 08-09 and room utilization for 9-10 without enrollment adjustments, and broke it out by Matthew Thornton, North, and South. Now, South, the the room configuration is based on what we will have once we finish construction at South School. There are a number of issues at each of the schools. One, the first issue at Matthew Thornton is absent any redistricting, Matthew Thornton would be underutilized and would have 3 empty classrooms. The issue at North is, though it's anticipated that enrollment's going to drop by 4 students, the distribution of students and class size issues would necessitate adding a classroom. Thus, North School would lose their reading resource room. That's a room that was specifically built. Issues at South, the drop in enrollment will allow the elementary district-wide EH program to move into a full-size classroom. Again, these are all the considerations that we took into account when we did our various utilization studies. Well, with this in mind, what we did was we thought of the following. Well, could we or should we do some redistricting to maximize utilization of the facilities, maintain appropriate class size, and provide equity across the district? Well, with the potential loss of the reading resource room at North School due to enrollment variations and the fact that we believe that North School enrollment area is seeing the most growth, and combined with the anticipated enrollment drop at Matthew Thornton, it seemed prudent to consider a modest redistricting from North to Matthew Thornton for the upcoming school year. Now, as the board is aware, it's impossible to cherry pick particular students around the district. We can't say we're just going to take these 4th graders and move them here, or these 2nd graders and move them here, for a whole variety of reasons, transportation being one of them. So what we did was we went through and we took a look at the various areas in North School District and looked at it and said, what would be some logical places in which we could redistrict some students to Matthew Thornton that would solve our space issues, particularly in 2nd and 4th grade at North School, provide reasonable transportation time and the whole bit. We looked at an area that includes Royal, Imperial, Mayflower, Chestnut, Laurel Hill, Poplar, Chandler, and Tyler. That we would redistrict, out of that would be 43 students. This is not touching any 5th grade students. We made a decision, if we're going to redistrict, it didn't seem to us to take students that were going to be in 5th grade next year, move them to Matthew Thornton, and then move them again the following year to the middle school. We didn't think that would be fair or appropriate. So if in fact we were to do that, I then provided you with a series of charts. I didn't do South School because that stays the same. And what I showed you was the distribution the distribution of classrooms and how we would utilize those classrooms and what the enrollment impact would be. From a projected 616 students at Matthew Thornton, we would go to 660 students, and we'd be utilizing the same number of classrooms and distribution of space and so forth. At North School, we would go from 564 students projected for next year to 521. That would enable us to maintain the reading resource room and maintain appropriate class sizes across the board. We're not asking the board to take any action today. We wanted to give you a couple of weeks to ruminate over this because it does obviously have a variety of impacts. It would also be our intention to send letters to all the parents that reside on those streets, inviting them to a school board meeting so that they could provide some input
We'll get some more people in.
to students, to the school board. What we also provided for you in the packet was a enrollment history and projection going back from 06-07 through the 09-10 school year. We broke it out by school and by grade level for you, so you can see how our enrollment pattern has worked. And in addition to that, we provided you with an additional chart which gives you enrollment projections and for 09-10 and then 09-10 under redistricting. That's the R, stands for redistricting. And you can see that under the redistricting, we have a very nice balance of class sizes across the board. I believe we make appropriate utilization of our facilities and enabling us to have appropriate resource areas and small instructional areas and reasonable class sizes across the board. Just as a note, what we used as a divisor in grades 1, 2, and 3, used a divisor of a 20-to-1 student-teacher ratio. Grades 4 and 5, 23-to-1. The next logical question somebody might ask would be, well, what's the state say? You know, the state looks at K-1-2 and says 25 with the idea of keeping it at 20, and grades 3, 4, and 5, 30 with the idea of moving it to 25. I think those numbers are too high, particularly in light of the programs and services that we provide. I think these numbers are consistent with what we've been able to do in the past, provides us with an opportunity to provide an appropriate level of service for our students, allows us to continue to mainstream and provide inclusion programs for special education students. And I think as the past history has shown, our elementary students tend to do fairly well. And I think part of that is because of the interpersonal reaction that they have and the individualized instruction they can get and small group instruction they can get in the regular classroom because of appropriate class sizes. So we'd be happy to respond to any questions that you had. Our purpose here tonight was to provide you with information, not to ask for a decision.
Any questions for Nate? Oh, sorry, John. John, and Steve.
For how long would you anticipate this would be the solution? Meaning, is there a larger redistricting looming on the horizon that we should be thinking about in one fell swoop?
Yeah, I think here are the issues that I think we have. I think this redistricting should, as best as I can tell at this point, should serve us fairly well for 3, 4, maybe 5 years. Right? The other issues that are compounding, one, it all depends on how the economy is going. 2, it depends on how many more students move into Vista Ridge up in the north end of town. Most of the residential housing construction is up at the north end of town. I believe there's also a significant number of parents in town who moved here, maybe 15, 20 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, whose students have gone through or will be finishing up at high school. There's a percentage of them that I believe will be downsizing, so they may not need a 4-bedroom house at this point. So if they move either to another part of town, a smaller home, or they move out of town, or they move into the 55 or older community, that's going to put that housing stock up. And even though there's no new construction, there's a good chance that we're going to get families in with multiple children. So we look at what the town's projections were, we look at what our recent history has been, we look at where the construction is, I think this gives us a 3, 4, 5-year window as far as facilities utilization is concerned before we would have to make a larger move. And again, it's going to depend on a whole host of conditions. And to be honest, John, going out more than 4 or 5 years is just going like this.
Steve?
This area of proposed redistricting,
Yes,
you've
sir.
indicated that the fifth graders would continue to go to North School,
Yes.
and the other youth would go to Matthew Thornton.
Correct.
2 issues there. What if there's siblings that travel on the bus together? And also, what about the bus issues? Because now you have to send 2 buses into this area. I think you have to send 2 buses into this area.
Well, we know that the total number of families that would be affected are 31. We also know that there are 10 families with more than one student that's affected. There are 5 fifth-grade families that have siblings that would be redistricted. So that, when we looked at it, we were trying to look at what would be the minimum impact. Yes, we're gonna have to swing a North School bus down to pick up those others, those. Peter, you?
Yeah.
Yeah. But when we started looking at it, we tried to take a look at all the factors involved. Another factor that we took a look at was, in redistricting, would we, we looked at a special ed population too. Would we overload? And there are 3, within that catchment group, as of today, there are 3 kids that we have identified out of that group. So I don't think that would have any significant impact on Matthew Thornton program.
Have these parents, has anyone else been notified?
No, we thought we'd bring this to the board first,
Okay.
and then what our intent was to send letters out to the parents, invite them in to a board meeting to express whatever concerns they had, or maybe they may say, yeah, it makes sense to me, and provide them with an opportunity. But before we got a whole bunch of people upset, we thought we'd present a proposal, and then we'd notify the parents and
I'm sorry,
have
just
them
one
come
last
in.
question.
Go ahead, Ben.
And you're prepared to send them out? You're prepared to send them out right away?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. You got something? Oh, I'm sorry.
Whispering.
Sorry. No, I thought you had a motion before. Yeah, just pick the date, Nate, and make sure you include the date.
Oh,
for the
yeah,
board meeting in
absolutely.
the letter,
Yep.
and discuss it with them.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, what I thought we could do is at the next school board meeting, we'd kind of have a public hearing as part of the regular board meeting.
Okay.
Right.
George? If I may, I'd like to suggest we also provide in that letter a invitation for people who might not want to speak at a board meeting to send in written comments.
that's fine. Good idea. And all of our email addresses are on the website.
And, I think we're
And
all.
phone number.
Yeah.
And home phone
Yeah,
numbers.
we're all very cognizant that families and students develop a very strong affiliation with their elementary school. And we know any kind of redistricting does cause a bit of agita, but at the same time, we're very comfortable that we're able to offer quality programs at all the elementary schools. And we think everybody will be best served.
Any other business?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91A3, sections 2A through F.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Hi, Steve Young.
Hi, John.
George Herman. Thank you.
Did Chuck say that was a V8? I mean, a diesel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good deal.
What?
It's a very good deal for a
I
diesel.
wish we could
Very
get
good report.
multi-discount.
School board.
With a plow
Now, with the plow
and
on it.
four-wheel drive.
Just the diesel alone puts the list price of something like 33.
Yes.
We have rationale behind it, which is, this is what's going to cost, this is what's going to
It's, we can't,
this is what's going
my interpretation of the policies and procedures, I can't sell
July,
anything,
because I
so
can't plow.
kind of stuff.
The other thing about that one is
But one day, one day. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah. No, it's,
Oh, sure.